put your hands together for the one and the only, Mr. Robert Englund.
It's my favorite time of year. How about you, punks?
I just want to remind everybody we have 2 microphones, so if you want to line up and ask Robert a question, here's your chance.
I'm going to pick my new projects, and then we'll turn it over to Q&A. Does that sound good? Ask me anything. No, well, not just, but I finished a project earlier this year with Lynn Shay from the Insidious franchise. Some of you might remember her, she of the floppy boobies in Something About Mary, with that little dog and that terrible tan. And Lynn was also in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. She's a phenomenal actress, having an incredible 4th act to her career. I think she's got 4 more movies coming out right now. And she's incredible in this movie. It's called The Midnight Man, and it should be out early 2017. It's that subset horror, the game you shouldn't play, especially children. And if you guys remember one of the films I did earlier in my career, Urban Legend, very similar thematic thing, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. But anyway, this game is very strange, and Lynn and I played it as children, and it falls to us to save the kids that play it in 2016. So look for Midnight Man, and look for a movie called Night World that I just finished in Europe with Jason London, and I play a kind of contemporary blind Van Helsing character. And I'm called out of retirement to seal a portal to purgatory, the Night World. And it's a lot of fun, kind of Twilight Zone-y. And then I did a craziest thing, you guys. Everything's changing. We know that now, with programming and YouTube and the great stuff that's on cable. But I did the weirdest movie, voiceover. It's all giant puppets. They're like the size of, they're life-size puppets. But I had lunch at least twice a week or 3 times a week with the great John Savage. Now, John Savage is a different generation than all of you. He's even a different generation from me, and I'm the oldest dog in the room. But John was a teen star, hanging out with James Dean, Elvis Presley, Marlon Brando. He starred in a great movie with Marlon Brando called The Appaloosa. John worked with everybody. The great John Huston, the great director John Huston. He worked with Quentin Tarantino on a final episode of CSI, a season-ending episode, a 2-hour special CSI when it was at the peak of its hit. John had Audrey Hepburn for a leading lady. John worked with Marlon Brando, Robert Redford twice, Clint Eastwood, Robert Duvall. Anybody you can think of, John worked with him. So for me, during the shooting of Nightmare on Elm Street 7, I got this sort of oral tradition. I got all these stories from the horse's mouth about that peculiar transitional Hollywood from the 1950s to the 1960s. And John was in a couple of my favorite movies, which made it even more exciting, and a true Hollywood gentleman. So that's probably why that movie and the experience of that movie meant so much to me. Is just all the stories that John shared with me. And now, with Wes Craven's passing, I think that's the film that was closest to his heart. And a film that came out closer to what Wes wanted up on the screen than any of the others. So, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That was my favorite experience. Next question.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, we're going over here.
These poor children in line. Yeah.
Who was your favorite kill in any of the 5?
Well, you know, well, can you hear me now? I'm in a hot spot. I think my favorite kill is Carlos in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, Freddy's dead. You know, Carlos wore a hearing aid, and you know, I love it because it's so politically incorrect, you know, to go after him. But I have to tell you guys, you know, I have actor friends in wheelchairs. I have actor friends, you know, that wear hearing aids. I have fans, you know, with disabilities and special needs. And I know that they want to play bad guys too. That they want to get in the mix too. And I think that so often we get so politically correct that we want to pamper everybody, you know, and I think that's kind of patronizing. You know, I don't know why an actor in a wheelchair can't be a bad guy instead of the saintly guy in the wheelchair. You know, I think that we push that too far. So the fact that Freddy goes after that guy, you could hear all that. There's just such a dark sequence and funny, and you also kind of identify with it. So that one, and Tina, dragging Tina across the ceiling for her boyfriend to see. You know, when we shot the scene with Amanda on the ceiling, and I tell this story a lot, but it's absolutely true. We wanted a shot of me pulling Amanda by her legs, a point of view shot, a POV between Amanda's legs of Freddy dragging her across the ceiling to tell the audience it's Freddy in her nightmare. And we shot it, and Amanda couldn't use the camera because she's not in the camera union, and she couldn't operate it anyway. So Jacques Heitken's wife, Amy, she took her jeans off, and she put blood on her legs, stage blood, and she held a handheld camera, and I dragged Amy around, and she shot it through her legs. And at the end, while Tina is supposedly dying, I drop her legs, and I blew her the kiss of death with my claw hand. Well, the congealed stage blood had formed a spider web between the blades of Freddy's claw. And as I blew the kiss of death to Tina, it turned into a blood bubble and floated at the camera. Hardcore stuff, kids. Wes Craven used that image to get every other image that he wanted in the movie. He traded it because the censors saw that and they said, no way, Jose. So what Wes did, Wes kept saying, no, I really want that. I really want that blood bubble. I really want to use it. It's such a great point of view shot. And so they let him put in all the rest of the nasty stuff, you know, with Johnny Depp and Amanda on the ceiling and everything. So he used it as a trade-off. But yeah, the Amanda Wyss revolving room death is a pretty great moment of American cinema.
Fantastic. All right. Hi there. What's your name? Where are you from?
How heavy was the makeup when you were Freddy Kruger in Nightmare on Elm Street?
How many what?
How heavy was the...
Heavy? It's not that heavy, you guys. The makeup is designed with foam latex, and it's very, very light. I pretend to be annoyed on the set. I pretend like it's a burden, but it's not. It's only itchy and crappy at 5 a.m. putting it on with cold glue and a stiff makeup brush up your nose or in the corner of your eye. But actually, it's very easy to wear during the day, except for the touch-ups. Again, I played the diva a little bit to get treated better on the set with the makeup, but I don't ever brag about my makeup because I was hanging out with one of the orc generals from Lord of the Rings in London in a pub, gorgeous Maori guy, and he told me that they had to be in the makeup chair at 2 a.m. in the morning for a 9 a.m. call. So that's a 7-hour makeup. And that must have been really difficult to wear because they had a lot of stuff in their mouth too. They didn't have a lot to say, those orcs. Not a lot of personality. And I, having worn the false teeth a lot, I know how tricky that can be. And so there's so many other makeups that are so incredible. The Elephant Man, Tim Curry in Legend, It's a very difficult makeup, I understand. I think some of the guys in the second Hellboy, you can ask Ron tomorrow, but I think some of the actors in that second Hellboy, it's not CGI when their jaws open wide. Some of those are Steve Johnson rigs that actually open. They were actually made audio animatronic to open that wide when their jaws expand. So, yeah, but you know, Freddy's not a heavy makeup. It's light. Kevin Yeager made it even thinner and lighter. You know, there's the man behind the show we're all here celebrating, Walking Dead, Greg Nicotero. He was taking care of me for years as Freddy, and the makeup just getting more and more refined. Those guys used to steal stuff, you know, steal ideas from medical labs. That's where a lot of the makeup effects come from. The glue that they used on me is the glue they use on a colostomy bag. So it doesn't hurt you, but it's not irritating, is the point. You don't want to, you know, I'm not going to make any colostomy bag jokes, but that's what they were basting me in every morning at 5 a.m. Next question.
Hi there, what's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Alex. I'm from Georgia, coming, and
What part of Georgia?
Atlanta.
Ah, okay. I did my first movie here in Statesboro, in Almond Brothers country. That was my first time in Atlanta. Go ahead.
My question is, every single character that you played, which one are you most like?
You know, I did a couple of movies early in my career where that was a little closer to who Robert was. There's a movie called Big Wednesday. It's a famous Warner Brothers surfing movie directed by John Milius, starring William Catt from Great American Hero and Carrie, and Gary Busey before he dropped his motorcycle. Jan Michael Vincent, who was the biggest star in the world in the 1970s. And that movie's, it was a part that was too small for me. I was under contract with Warner Brothers then, but in Big Wednesday, I kind of played the last day of my youth as a surfer in California. I was kind of schizophrenic as a teenager because half of me was jock, surfer, gymnast, swimming champion, and the other half of me was like the drama kids. And in those days, everybody wants to be an artist now, and that's a good thing. But in those days, all the moms and dads wanted us all to be doctors or engineers or lawyers. You said you wanted to be an actor or a dancer or a singer or an illustrator of graphic novels. Your mom and dad would just, they weren't having it. And so back then, it just wasn't the thing to do, you know, to be an actor. And you had to be kind of brave. So I was sort of schizophrenic, you know, and I kept those worlds private from each other. You know, the jock world and the drama department. And I remember going to a party with the varsity football team, and it was like 100 guys to every 10 girls, and not enough beer. And about a week later, I went to a drama department party, and it was about 30 girls for every guy. And I walked in, and the 3 of the most beautiful girls in high school that no one knew about, they were mysterious, were in the shallow end of the pool, floating around on pool rafts, you know, with Mai Tais, little drinks with umbrellas in them. And I think they were playing West Side Story on the stereo. A couple of guys that I knew that were just kind of like dorky guys, they were mixing cocktails. And I thought, hey, drama department, not so shabby. I'm not going to tell anybody about this. And it was just an incredible world. And I went back and forth between those two worlds.